Now we got it going recording.
Okay. Anybody have anything to say out there?
Well, I was curious about the Church of Rome postmaster. I understand basically how to get it, but I don't understand the function.
Well, you don't need to worry about it, okay?
Okay.
That's some stuff that I did a while back, about 2 years ago.
Okay. Should we go for one like that, or just our 3 EIN?
Just try and get what you've got done right now, okay?
Okay.
You got the key one right now when you've got that individual banker EIN. And you've got your estate EIN and you've got your foreign grantor trust EIN. Now you have your 2 bank accounts and you have the chief financial officer over your bank. That's all you need.
Okay.
Does anybody out there have any questions, comments over what I've been going over here?
Yeah, you talk about a cross and a fish. I just didn't know like where that was on your documents, or did you put them on, or they put them on, or what? The Roman cross.
Well, it shows on my baptismal record there.
Huh.
Look at the last page of that document that I posted up there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The affidavit and
I see it, Mashaka Hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, my hospital birth certificate, and then my baptismal certificate. It shows right on the baptismal certificate, right at the very top, the fish and the cross.
Oh, is it on the seal or somewhere else? I'm looking at it.
It's at the very top of the baptismal record.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see it. That was the one underneath. Yeah, certificate of baptism, right.
Yeah, see, you need a cross and the fish.
Right.
Okay, the cross is for being on the land, baptized upon the land, and the fish is baptized by water.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, bro.
Now, the whole problem out here that we've been having is nobody knows that this nation has been conquered. This is not the free nation that the founding fathers initially set up. It's been conquered by the Roman Empire. This nation became a debtor nation. That is the problem. That's why the Pope is coming over here and going to lay the law down upon D.C., New York, and Philadelphia. The 3 hubs of power in this country. Because it's a conquered nation. It's now been incorporated into one of the parts of the Roman Empire. Because it became a debtor nation after the Civil War. Okay, you can look at that baptismal form I have. It's with the Roman Catholic Church. The form number is a 214. Just happens to be the same number as a military form, DD 214.
Right, there it is.
So, I was baptized into the Roman Empire, and I also did military service in the Roman Empire. That's why this nation can go overseas and fight. Because we're not fighting as the nation, we're fighting as a product of the Roman Empire. That's what everybody has been totally missing in this process of understanding. They haven't realized that we are basically a conquered nation.
Excuse me, Patrick.
Yes.
I got baptized yesterday, but it doesn't, and the certificate that they gave me does not have a fish or the cross. Does that matter at this point?
Where did you get baptized at?
Basically by a Baptist preacher who belonged to another church.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you'll have to take that into the archdiocese, the bishop of the, or whatever, and basically have him accept it then as a baptismal record into the Roman Empire.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I will do.
Okay. See, that's what we've been missing, okay? Everybody's been fighting this thing about this, the Catholic Church and everything else. It's the Roman side that we need to go in. And everybody out here has been continually to operate in the Jezebel banking system. The real Roman Empire is with lawful money, not the Jezebel system. Even in Moses' time, when they set up the temple, the first temple was basically with lawful money exchangement. And then, but outside that temple, there was the Jezebel temple, the bankers, with their unjust contracts that people wanted to get involved with. It's in the Bible numerous times. And see, that's what basically these countries, and that's what happened here. Basically, if we could have stayed using lawful money and kept the insurance companies and the bankers out of this country, then we would have been a totally free country. But we didn't do that. Okay? Our grandparents and everything else. Oh, you got to have insurance. You got to have insurance. Got to have lightning rods. Oh, you're going to get hit with that lightning. Need to have this lightning insurance now. That's the play that the devil does to you. Gets you into a usury system. You have to believe in the real law. And the real law is very simple. Okay? You control all these books into the water, and basically they're going to dissolve. All these codes of law. But the real law is cast in iron. That is what Christ means. Cast in iron. That's where the law is now out here. It's cast in iron. In Moses' time, it was cast in stone. In Daniel's time, it was cast in gold and then in silver. First by the Babylonians, then by the Medes Persians. Then later on, it was the Greeks, and it was cast in bronze or brass. And now we're under the Roman Empire, and it's cast in iron. Think about it. The first Bible, how was it printed? By a printing press, and basically all of the letters were iron letters out here. You have a seal, an embosser. One side of that seal is iron or whatever, hard metal. So basically, when you put your seal on, you are basically putting that cast in iron, your law in iron. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great grandpappy, Patrick, over there in Ireland, basically, and I can claim him because I don't know who my real great-grandpappy was, but basically, I'm going to claim him.
St. Patrick?
Yeah. He was the bishop over Ireland. He drove all of the usury bankers out of Ireland. But later on, my damn relatives and everything else allowed the bankers back in there. Just like they did in this country. They tried to drive all the bankers out of here. They wrote stories, 1820, Daniel Webster and the Devil, about the devil being the banker in usury. They allowed that one bank in, and then they closed it down. And then they brought in a second one. And then Jackson basically shut that one down. Kept it out until basically about the time of Abraham Lincoln and Buchanan. The bankers were starting to influx into the north and also coming into the south. Then it was funded both by the Church of Rome, the Roman Empire, to conquer this, from the Jezebel side, and out of England. But the net result is that the Roman Empire, the true Church of Rome, or the Roman Empire, is where all the real assets are. These other religious entities, the Jezebel bankers, they had no assets. So, when you understand who you are now, and yet you are a conquered people operating under the Roman Empire, now, like I said last week or last call and the previous call, we have to go to that Secretary of Treasury down in Puerto Rico until we basically shut down that Social Security account. And even the military side is tied to that. The DD-214. They're utilizing our assets in usury. We have to shut it down. That's the focal point. But we also contact basically the bishop or the archbishop in Philadelphia, because that was where the main capital of this country was at initially. You can notify New York and Washington, D.C. archdiocese if you want to also. Coming in that you are a Roman citizen and that you are claiming your Roman rights. And you're not going to be operating under the Jezebel usury system anymore. You're not going to have a savings account. You're not going to have insurance policies. You're not going to have insurance on your car, on your house. You're going to pay for things as they go. You're going to take on the responsibility solely. You're going to start knowing the law, knowing what courts they can take you into and what courts they can't take you into. The Jezebels can only take you into certain courts, and you have to give them permission to take you into those courts. When you stand as a Roman citizen, you're protected You have to go into an Article 3 court, and basically in the Article 3 court, there has to be an injured party there, and they have to defend themselves. Just like the story in King Solomon. The two women were fighting over the child. And King Solomon was able to ascertain who was the one that was lying and who was the one that was real. That's when you get into the real law. And the real law is very simple. It hasn't really changed all that much. It's still roughly about the Ten Commandments. And it goes all the way back to Noah's time, but all the way back even further than that. And Jesus tried to break it down to just two. And it really does come down to pretty much just two. The others are just sort of a play on the other, on the main two. Love thy God or thyself, and love thy neighbor as thyself. When you love yourself, you will stay in honor in the process. And then you will treat your neighbor the same way. That's pretty much it. That is just commerce. Now you can take, and basically what I put up there with that bill payment, and you can do those bill set-offs. Send them out. You don't need to have a response back from them. If they try and come after you, you get a printer that has a scanner in it. You scan that. You send it out by certified mail. Now you have mail. Now, if they do not comply, they are committing mail fraud. Because they would have to come into a real court and say that basically that they never received it. Or that they rejected it. But if they never send it back to you, and they've got 3 days to basically accept it, so in a total of 13 days, 3 days in, 3 days to process, 3 days to return, 1 day of grace, or 10 days, really, you should have your response back. But in this modern day, it should be a lot faster than that. But you do need to have a scanner and keep copies of what you sent out. And then I put a 1099-A up there. You don't need to use their forms. They're 3-part forms. You can print these out on the one that I put up there and send those in. We're the ones that are in charge, not them. Make them do a little work for a change. They're the ones that are operating the Jezebel system. Make them suffer. So you send that in, you can turn around and take your DD-14 or your certificate of live birth and do an endorsement like I put on there about 4 months ago or better for making a bill of exchange for a draw. Okay? You don't do bonds. Let me reiterate that. You do not do bonds. Letters of credit are okay for the insurance process. We will have a letter of credit standing by as basically that is our insurance policy.
Mhm.
We put assets over to the side, but we're not drawing any interest off of it. So it's not their type of insurance that they want everybody to be operating with. They cannot force you into basically committing a violation of the law against for usury. That is a violation of all law. Yeah, these Jezebel courts that are out there, yeah, they're breaking the law constantly. But see, you didn't know the power you had was because you are now a conquered American, but you are an American/Roman citizen. You have to stand with the protections of Rome now that you are a conquered people. Just like Daniel had to stand under the protections of the Babylonian Empire when he was in Babylon. He was a conquered people. This thing is out here, played out numerous times in the Bible. I just wish that there were more people that could try and break and understand what the Bible is really saying out here. But that's beyond hope, okay? So, I'll try and tell you, and then basically you go and check me out and try and prove me wrong. But you can take all your receipts that you have and get reimbursed. Send those down to Puerto Rico. Do this affidavit and apostille document that I had posted up there about 4 days ago or whatever. Get that done. Now that I've told you the rest of the story in it, you need to address that you're coming in as a conquered American, that you are now an American Roman citizen. Then you have your protections, because the real Roman Empire will protect your rights if you stand by the real law. But if you stand by the Jezebel banking system of Rome, they're not going to protect you.
Hiya.
Okay? Okay. Open for questions, comments, rebuttals, whatever.
Thank you, Patrick.
Don't thank me. Ask me a question. I'm sure you don't know all the answers.
I don't.
Okay, then ask something. You got to have some question in your mind.
Basically, so with Archdiocese of Philadelphia or the Archdiocese here in Ohio is where I take this the baptismal certificate.
You can go into, basically, you try and go into your local diocese, not the archdiocese. Try and go into the local diocese first.
I will do that tomorrow morning, sir. Thank you. And as to being able to get the land record from California. It has been impossible for me to get. Is there any suggestion you might have? Because I've actually called the county recorder and asked them to give me the land record, and they haven't. They've refused to.
You've got, what land record are you trying to get?
The one with the book and page number that you mentioned.
If you can't get it, then don't worry about it, okay?
Right.
You've got the number, okay? And basically out of California, you ain't going to get book and page number. They don't have it filed that way out there.
Okay.
Okay.
We've gone over that numerous times already. There's plenty of
Okay.
people out there on the site. You can ask people that are in California and ask them, have you ever gotten your book and page number for where your record's at? And they'll probably tell you no.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
we've tried that for years, okay?
Ray has the problem, he has no hospital records either.
Because I was adopted and given up to foreign parents in a foreign country. So
You get a copy of your certificate of live birth, don't you? Your
Yeah.
original one, okay?
that's it. Okay.
Yes. That's what's on file, okay? That's what gave you your inheritance in America.
Right.
And the Roman Empire has to honor that inheritance.
Thank you very much. That's the only thing I needed to proceed forward with all this.
You need to also have your Bible. You need to have a Bible. If you do not have the hospital birth certificate, you should have a Bible entry. You carry that Bible with you. You're dealing with the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is following the Bible.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And you put your entry in, all your pertinent data into that Bible.
I was given the Bible yesterday. It's not an old one, it's a new one, but it'll have to do.
If it's got the family record section, you transpose what's on that certificate of live birth into that record, into the Bible.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you very
How
much.
many times have I said this?
Well, you mentioned going back and getting an old Bible, and we've tried, but if we can just put it into a new.
I said if you can get one, okay?
Okay.
If you can't get one, get one. Whatever it takes, get a Bible, okay? And it
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
make any difference which one it is. They're all basically a little different. There is no one perfect Bible.
Yes, sir.
What you want is basically the middle section there of your family records.
Okay.
In between the Old Testament and the New Testament normally is where it's found.
Okay, thank you very much. I will get on that tomorrow morning.
Patrick, I just got on, and I was baptized when I was 19 in, the horse and buggy community, and they didn't keep records, and now I was baptized in July here by someone, and I don't know how to get it affiliated through a church. Or do you have to do it again?
How to get what affiliated to a church?
The baptismal certificate.
Okay. Have you been baptized?
Twice.
You have.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where your church is at? Can you go back to the church and get a copy of that?
Yeah, they don't keep records in the horse and buggy community where I grew up.
Okay, and you don't have one. Okay. Can you get a rebaptism in the process?
Well, I did that in July, but I didn't do it through a church. I did it through the person that came up to help you, the one you mentioned to me today to come see you. He did it for me with other witnesses, and he's a pastor, but I don't know if he has a church connection other than, whatever he did to become a pastor.
Ask them.
Well, ask him, okay?
Okay.
I can't tell you.
Okay.
But you're going to have to get that baptismal record and then take it down to the diocese and that would be over in Davenport.
The diocese in that Davenport.
And get them to accept that as a baptism into the Roman Empire.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay? Tell Jack to give me a call, too. I need to talk to him.
I talked to him this evening. He's leaving. He's studying to be a bus driver. He's leaving for a week. But I'll do that. He can at least call you. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I got everything I need to actually get started on this.
Well, I don't need the thank yous, okay? I need you guys to start doing the stuff, and that's it.
Right. And reporting back to you.
Well, or reporting back to the group, okay?
Okay.
The people in the group, they're the ones that need the confirmation. I'm convinced that I'm right, okay? They need the confirmation that I'm right.
Patrick, sir, I have a question when someone else is
Yeah.
on. Go ahead. Okay. On the SS4 for the estate, number 6, it says county, state, where principal business is located. Do you put America and then the state where you live, or do you put United States of America, or how does that get worded in number 6? And then I have one more after that.
It says county, right?
Correct.
America is not a county.
So you put your county and then the state, and that's it.
Yeah, like Keokuk County and then the state.
Okay, and then on number 11, it says date business was started or acquired. Would that be your date of birth, or would that just be when you file it?
Whichever you want to throw in there, okay? This is your form. Make it, okay? Think about it. When do I want to start this? I wanted to start it yesterday.
If we put our date of birth, do we have to put nunc pro tunc?
No, you don't need to get too carried away with this. Just put down today's date. You're starting today, okay? You couldn't do anything because you haven't got this EIN, so you've got to start today.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Right. Sorry, I just had you muted.
Okay. Now, we've been thinking about a lot of this stuff totally wrong. We've listened to all the patriot rhetoric out here, and everybody has totally, most people never really did know how to read the Constitution to begin with, so they had that all messed up, okay? And then nobody realized that they were a conquered nation and that we're really under the Roman Empire out here, but we've been also placed under Roman supervision because of this Jezebel banking system that has taken control. The real Roman law came in to protect us because we fell in with the Jezebels.
When we take our baptismal into the diocese, are they going to give us something in return, like a document?
I don't know. You've got to check it out. You've got to go in there and basically, you're going like in front of Pilate, okay? That bishop is like Pilate. And you've got to go in there and prove that he finds no fault with this man. Okay, that's what Jesus had to do. I am who I say I am. Who do you say I am? I'm here, and basically I'm going to stand by the real laws. I'm not going to be operating under the usury system. I'm adhering to the real laws. Rome is the law keeper at the present time in history. And the subject. Yeah, our government is not keepers of the real law. They've broken just about every law out here. That's why the Pope is coming over here to lay the law down on them.
About time.
And everybody's been against the Jesuits. You might think about it, that the Jesuits really are the men in black that we need to have on our side. I'm not saying you have to adhere to any specific religion, am I? I'm not saying anything like of that matter. You can be a Baptist, you can be a Presbyterian, you can be a Methodist, you can be whatever. But you have to adhere to certain laws out here. And the very basic laws are you are baptized in blood upon the land, and you then are baptized by water to basically wash away the sins of the debt that are initially put upon you. And then when you adhere to the laws, to the real laws, to the very basic laws, and stay away from usury, insurance policies, and all that, then basically you will be able to be freed like Daniel was in Babylon. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, or whatever his name was, basically. And don't tell me what his name is. I don't give a shit. Okay? The three, okay? They stood by the law. That's why they basically were given the free reins that they had. Everybody else stayed as a debtor. They never took the responsibility on for themselves. They wanted everybody else to do everything for them. And that's what I've been trying to get you people to do, is to take on your own responsibility. I tried to show you, just like Jesus did, the way and the path. And the path that I found was to follow exactly what Jesus did. And it's very simple. It was just there was a little more complications in here because basically we thought we were in a free nation, but basically we were in a conquered nation. We lost our freedom out here, just like Franklin and Jefferson warned about. You got it if you can maintain it. But we let these damn government officials come in, and then we didn't want to run for office, so we allowed them to run for office 4, 5, 25 times in a row. Jesse Helms, or whatever, down there in South Carolina or North Carolina. I mean, they had to wheelchair him out of there. Guy was senile beyond belief.
Patrick, is the Roman Empire ever considered a nation?
No.
Okay.
It's really just a form of law.
Okay.
It's sitting as the one that is in control of the law. It encompasses, the law is over a whole bunch of different nations.
Okay.
See, that's what Babylon was, okay? Babylon was over a whole bunch of areas. Egypt was over a whole bunch of nations. at one point in time.
So in court,
Greece. Huh?
In court, then would one say, "I am ambassador for my my country"?
You are an ambassador of Christ,
Okay.
of the law, of the real law, and you are a Roman citizen. Okay. As soon as you get down there to that bishop, and you place yourself on notice, and you ask for forgiveness, you confess, and people, you have a court case.
Yeah.
You need to read that document. I had Tom post up there, or I put on Skype, and I sent out there. Confession and
Avoidance.
avoidance. Okay?
All right.
They cannot charge you. Okay? They have to have clean hands. That's under the clean hands doctrine. They have to give you the means of settlement. They can't hide it away from you. You offer settlement. You've got the 1099-A. You can do that. You can basically take their instrument and endorse it over to them. Your signature is a letter of credit. Okay? When you signed up with a driver's license, when you signed up with a certificate of title to the vehicle, whatever, you're giving them a letter of credit. Now, they give you a bill. Okay? Now, with your signature, you endorse it on the back, and you release the credits from that letter of credit to them to set off the bill.
Okay, it's making sense, but I have this right here in front of me, and there's like 3 sections that say, 80 on the first page, on the front page. So I don't know yet how to fill one or all 3 out for one bill. I think.
You're going to have to come up and see me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Anytime, I'll call you.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, can I come over too?
You'll have
Well,
a
if you
class
want
here.
Yeah, next weekend maybe.
Is this Ken?
No, this is Chris.
Oh.
I'm in California.
Okay. Well, basically, you ought to be able to do most of this. You've been with me long enough.
Yeah. Just want to hang.
May put you work cutting wood then if you're going to want to do that.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, could you expand a bit on the Jesuits being the people who could help us? Most people try to portray them as being the source of all evil, even worse than the bankers.
See, that's the thing. When somebody is bad-mouthing some group or whatever too damn much, okay, they've got to be the good guys.
They must be up to some good, right?
Yeah, because if too many people out there are bad-mouthing, they want you to stay away from them because basically that's where your remedy or your relief is at. They don't want you to have the relief.
Yeah, like in jail, they said don't put anything on top of the paper. So I found out that's where you put conditionally at, and so they were going to try and protect themselves.
And basically, one of the girls out there came and said, hey, that vicar general or the bishop is basically the chief financial officer of the area now. Which makes all the sense. Now that we understand that we're a conquered nation and that the Roman Empire is over it, okay, the bishop then is the one, and St. Patrick was a bishop out of Rome. So he was the Bishop of Ireland.
So the
He was the
Jesuits,
chief financial officer of Ireland.
so the Jesuits could actually be serving as marshal service then.
As the enforcement arm, yes.
Right, okay.
And that's where they came from, okay?
Yes. Interesting.
And they were called the assassins. Why were they called the assassins? Because they could go in and kill off the bankers.
No wonder.
Not necessarily did they have to do that, but basically the funds that, the means that they were able to do it with was basically to force them to operate with lawful money, and basically that shut down and killed most bankers. They can't operate.
Good.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Patrick. And I wanted to just say, I'm going to take the preacher that baptized me with me to the archdiocese. I think that's better. Have him go with me.
And he's very interested in the process too.
Well, he can go on his own. You don't need to have him there. Basically, you need to. Okay. That fish, okay? That fish is ICHTHUS. Okay, that's out there.
Yeah.
That basically people had on their cars, okay, to go along with the cross. Do you know what that means?
It's Greek for Jesus the Savior.
No, it doesn't. Okay? ICH means each. Okay?
In German, it's ich for I.
It's each. Each.
Okay.
That means one. Each. Okay? Just a second. I'll tell you exactly what the rest of it says. The THUS, okay? In the first definition that under THUS, you'll see the word frankincense. But if you look in, and you need to go to an Oxford Universal Dictionary or some good dictionary, okay? But ICH means each. And then THUS means accordingly. So, ICHTHUS, the word means each accordingly or individually. You have to be responsible individually. You can't do this as a group. It has to be done individually. Each accordingly. That's what that fish basically stands for. And then basically you've been baptized in water also in the process. So now basically you have completed the process to be a Roman citizen. See, Jesus wasn't baptized until he was the age of 30. He was indoctrinated and baptized by his cousin, John the Baptist. John was in the system as a Roman citizen. Okay? He had broken away from the Jew side. Nowhere do we see that Jesus was ever circumcised. Do we? It's not in the Bible. So he took 3 years and basically tried to educate other people out there. And then finally he said, I've had enough of this. I'm going to get out of the system. And basically the Jews, the bankers, tried to come after him because he kept turning the tables over on them in the temple, trying to get them to operate with lawful money. So then he went to basically Pilate, who was the Roman proctor over the area, and he said, I find no fault with this man. He's operating per the law. You guys aren't. He sent him back to him and said, straighten out your records. So they had to crucify his records. They didn't crucify the man. They crucified his contracts. But everybody wants to see blood and guts because that's what really sells. And we've got to make a profit on any and everything out here. So we've got to have the blood sales in all the movies and everything else. A good love story just don't sell as good as much as a good blood and gore story. You can take a look at the box office receipts on that. Okay, any questions?
Patrick, I have a question.
Okay.
Do we have to do the establishing ourselves as a Roman citizen prior to doing a signature as a line of credit to make that work?
Do you have your estate EIN?
No.
Do you have your foreign grantor trust EIN?
No, I haven't gotten any of the EINs yet.
Okay, well then you ain't going to be able to do anything until you get your tax identification number, just like in the movie Jupiter Ascending. You have to have your tax identification number. Okay, you've got to set up your private bank. You need to have a checking account and a savings account. The checking account side is your estate EIN. The savings account is your foreign grantor trust EIN. And then you have to have your individual banker's EIN, who is the fiduciary over both of those two accounts. You as the living cannot be seen. That's the problem out here. In this world, we cannot be seen, even in commerce. Only in the back room can you operate as Tom or Mary or Lucy when you turn the lights out in commerce of sex between two people. Otherwise, you're operating out here in commerce in a completely different capacity, and you've got to have a front person to protect you.
I never knew why they wanted me to open a savings. They told me, oh, you only need $5. And so I finally managed to get my savings and checking opened up here where I'm at.
Yeah, but you need to get have your EIN, and basically then you will be able to get out and get into the real money system in the process. And then you can get your Treasury Direct card and or direct express card from the Treasury Department.
Okay, so if we're attempting to establish ourselves as a Roman citizen, aren't we supposed to not have any savings?
Okay, the EINs that you're getting are your private bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that you're putting your savings out there in a usury capacity.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay? It's just sort of like a symbolism or something like that. Okay? I'm using the regular checking and savings account banking system to give you sort of a correlation of what we need to have set up similar, but we don't have to operate it their way. We operate it with real money. Okay? We just don't put our money out there in a usury capacity.
Okay, so the checking account is the estate EIN?
Is the foreign grantor trust EIN, and the regular checking account would be classified as this checking account, the estate EIN.
Okay.
And
the
then,
third one is the individual?
And then the third one is the individual banker for your private bank, and he's going to be the CFO of the bank.
Okay.
And see, you as the living person, Mary, Tom, Lucy, whatever, you're out there on the golf course as the CEO. You're not anywhere around the bank. You're letting all your employees do the work for you.
And who are those employees?
Your name, first name, middle name, last name. Now, your account that's down there in Puerto Rico, and basically also the one that's in the Treasury Department, buried away, is last name, first name. Okay, so like in my case, when I go to Puerto Rico, I'm going after Divine, Patrick. But my fictional person, Patrick Divine, as my estate person on the 1099-A, he is coming in. He's above ground, okay? And Divine, Patrick, he's below ground. But the living person cannot enter the temple, just like in Moses' time. The people came outside the temple. They put their petition in. They gave it to the priest. The priest took it into the temple. Right? Right. Okay?
Right. Okay. All right, so that's the below and above thing, and do they have to come together in some way?
Yes, the priest will bring them together to set off the books. Okay?
I see.
You're doing a debt transfer, okay, from your dead person is the lender, okay? He's the debtor, so basically he's lending you debt. And then you, on the instrument, you're basically signing over, and you're making that a negative instrument for the credit release to settle the book. But then the real stuff has to be given over to you because the account there is now zero, but there was something taken out. So where does it have to go? It's got to go to you.
So is there anything else that we need to do besides establish ourselves as a Roman citizen?
Yes, you need to get those EINs.
And the EIN, yeah.
Yes, you need to get that first. Then you can come in and basically establish yourself as the Roman citizen, okay?
Okay.
See, I've been talking about this EIN stuff for, when did I get mine? Back in 2010. 2009 is when I applied for my foreign grantor trust one. And basically 2010, first part of 2010, I got it. And then I got my estate EIN in 2010. So I've had mine for almost 5 years now. But the one that we were missing was the one that tied both of them together. And that was I needed to have a financial officer in the process as an individual banker. Because I, as the living, could not be the one doing the process. I had to have another fiction. You don't need to do UCCs. UCCs are universal commercial codes. Okay? And you want to stay away from the commercial or the Jezebel system.
So obtaining EINs is not part of the Jezebel system?
No, that is part of the taxing system. Everything out here in this system, even in the Roman system, what did it say? Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. That was a tax. But they didn't know who the Caesar was. Caesar. You're coming in and you're the Caesar. You're seizing your own assets. Give unto Caesar. Got it?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, the bankers have polluted a lot of these words, and the English monarchs and everything else did a hell of a job of trying to continue the pollution of words. And that's why I've tried to stress using the dictionary to understand the words. You have to break them way down in a lot of cases.
Okay, I got a copy of my baptismal certificate from the church, and it doesn't have a fish on it.
Oh, it doesn't have to have a fish on it, okay?
Oh, okay.
I was just showing those as examples of how basically the Roman Catholic Church has most all of this in place. But see, even 99%, well, 99.999% of the Roman Catholics have no idea of what the shit's going on.
Okay, so what I actually received was, instead of a copy of the baptismal certificate, they said that they don't have the original, and all they do is just confirm that a baptism took place on such and such date.
Okay, which church was it with?
With the Catholic Church.
It was with the Catholic Church, and you couldn't get, well, basically a replacement. What form is it on? Is it on the 314 form?
No, it's just on a straight 8.5 by 11 sheet of white paper. There's nothing special about it. They put in their stuff. They didn't spell out the state of Wisconsin. They just did the initials. And
you got it from the rectory there at the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
Or did you get it from the diocese?
It's just the church itself.
You got it from the church itself, huh? They should have used either the form. They should be using the form right now, the 314 form.
Right.
Okay. No, they didn't do that.
Isn't that the 214?
Well, the 214 was up until recent, and then basically the later ones they've changed over to the 314 form. Okay, I don't know what the difference in the numbering system is there, but that's what. See, I've got copies of both of those.
Huh. Okay. I got my copy about 4 years ago. It's a 314.
Yeah.
So is it important that it be a 314, or can just...
No, I was just surprised you didn't get one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But basically you've got that. So now you can now you can go to the diocese, and you can take your receipts down there to the diocese, to the vicar general. You got proof of your baptism in blood. Now you got proof of baptism by water, and basically now you've got a copy of your certificate of live birth. You got your Social Security account, and basically you're coming in and you're going to tell them, hey, I want out of the usury system, and basically I want you to settle all these bills. You're the chief financial officer for the district of the Roman Empire district here. Take care of this.
So I can.
You can go right to the Vicar General.
Okay, can the Vicar
Okay.
General be in the state that I'm currently living in, and that's
Huh?
the state I was born in? Can the Vicar General be?
No, I want you to go all the way over to Rome. Come on. You go to where you're at.
Okay.
Okay?
Good.
Bankruptcy. Where do you go? You don't go to the state you were born in. You go to the state that you're living in.
Okay.
And normally you have to be there in that area for at least 160 days or so.
So how does the Vicar General then settle the bills?
Huh?
How does the vicar settle the bills?
I don't know. Ask him.
Okay.
He's the chief financial officer. He knows where the money's at.
Okay.
He's in contact with Puerto Rico, with the treasury down there. He's in contact with Rome, to where the Roman treasury is located. He's been schooled in the damn process. All of these vicar generals and bishops have to go to Rome and get trained over there in Rome for about 2 years or so in basically banking, in the system of banking.
Wow.
Even a lot of the other bishops in the other denominations go over there to Rome and go through the banking system over there in Rome too. You didn't know that.
No. So they should know how to be able to settle the bills, so we don't have.
Hell yes, they're bankers.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have to direct them as bankers, or can they take the bull by the horns?
What do you do at your local bank? Do you direct the chief financial officer in that local bank? You come in and you tell him, I want this done? No, you tell the clerk, here, I'm submitting this, have it processed. But you go in there normally the first time and basically prove to them, show yourself to them, show them your documents, do your affidavit, okay, like I put up there. Submit that in. It's that simple. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Do it.
Have you done it?
I'm in the process, okay? I've been out here trying to get this all ironed out and try and help other people and everything. Okay? This has been an ongoing process. I would have been done years ago if basically there would have been a little more help out here, but there wasn't. And when I run the gauntlet with my family and everything else, and basically trying to help everybody else in the process, yeah, I haven't got, but I've got a hell of a lot more stuff done than most people. I've done more paperwork out here than you could shake a stick at.
So,
but in some cases, I drug my feet because I wanted to hang in there until basically I was able to get a few other people up to speed to where I could walk away and basically they could sort of take over and help the next people until they got up to speed and then they could walk away. That was what this was all supposed to be about.
Help your fellow man.
Well, I think that's a great idea, but if you haven't done it yourself, where do you get your information from to make you feel confident that this is going to work?
Because I have studied the damn Bible, okay? I studied the law. I know the Constitution. I know the law system out here in the universe, okay? It's all right here. We've been down. I've been to every damn government office there is. That's what I'm saying. I've been to every court there is. I found out that we were at the wrong damn place.
Well,
now, you can either believe me or not believe me, okay? That is your choice.
I would like to see it happen for I would like to see it happen for you, seeing as how...
No, I want to see it happen for you tomorrow, too, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't want you sitting around waiting for me. You haven't got the time to sit around and wait for me. You either believe me or don't believe me.
Well, it all makes sense.
Well, then, do you believe or do you not believe? Not does it, it makes sense, and then you go and sit on your duff for a week, and basically you're another week behind. You still haven't got your EINs. Does that make any sense? No, that don't make any sense at all.
Tom helped us with he did the calls for kind of walking us through getting the EIN, how to fill out the forms and so forth. And I would love to do that again because at the time for me, and I don't know about anyone else, but I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know what was even a lot of the stuff that was on the forms. I didn't even know what to ask. And so it's, I've been working with it. I've been looking at it. I've been trying to fill it out, and I think, okay, now what does this mean, and where do I get this information? And it would be good to have a review.
You can ask Tom if he wants to do a repeat, or basically if he could tell you what the call was that he probably recorded that session.
Yes, it was recorded.
Okay, so you could tell her what that is, and basically help her from there. Okay, you can contact Tom on Skype or whatever and talk it over with him.
Or just check them out. You check out the calls, play them, and see if that's a call. It was about 6 to 8 weeks ago on a Wednesday.
Okay.
Are you from Wisconsin?
I am.
You are. So am I. Where are you located?
Oh, I'm not in Wisconsin anymore. I'm in Arizona now. But I was in central Wisconsin.
Okay, I'm in Dodge at the current time.
I'm not familiar with where that is.
Now, there's people down there in Arizona that I think are in the Skype group, too.
Yeah, there are. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
But yeah, all the documents and everything else there, and it's pretty self-explanatory, okay? I put my template up there for the individual banker's EIN, okay? You can take a look at the summary sheet that I have. If you get to the summary page for the banker's EIN and it does not look pretty much like what I had up there, then you need to backtrack and start over again, okay? And that's what you have to do, okay? You have to be willing to make a mistake and correct your mistakes. Admit that you're wrong and start over again.
Oh, yeah, that's not a problem.
And see, that's what most people refuse to do, is to admit that they've ever been wrong and that they've been lied to their whole damn life.
Well,
and that grandpa and grandma were wrong.
Yeah, no, I think it's more of an issue of just how to, because I have looked at your forms and I've seen multiple copies of them that you've done at different times. And you're right. You have worked very, very hard at what you've done. I mean, I couldn't even, you'd run circles around us. But anyway, so it's a question of which is the correct form, which is the correct information that needs to be provided, and just to make sure that it's being pulled together. That's why I think maybe another session with Tom would be really helpful to answer some of those last questions, because just following something isn't enough for me to feel confident about what I'm actually doing. I'd like to see the bigger picture of how does this all fit together, because just even you're saying tonight that the checking account is, the estate EIN is for checking and the foreign grantor trust or EIN is for savings. I didn't know that. That's an important piece. And you're saying,
I've talked about that in the past. Okay.
Well, I know I'm fairly new, so I haven't gotten all of that yet.
But you've heard me in the past, okay? And see, that's the problem. People followed me, and then basically they got away from me. Now they're starting to come back. They're hitting me up with stuff that I put out there about 3 or 4 years ago. Hell, had one guy call up my mom, tried to track me down in the phone book, couldn't find me. So basically found the only divine in the area that was in the phone book, called that. That happened to be my mom. She called me up and said, this guy's trying to get in touch with you. And so I called him back, and he said, well, I'd listened to you years ago, and basically I heard something here, and I wanted to contact you and see what, because you had gone into court, and it sounded like you're starting to make strides in the process. Well, basically, yeah, I did a little time in jail, 2 nights in jail, but basically I know how to handle these guys now. That don't mean that I still won't end up in jail, because basically they are a bunch of sickos out here, and you don't argue with them, but you have to know how to stand, and then you can get compensated back from them. But you need to bring in this vicar general. You need to get your Roman citizen status, because we've lost all of our protections, sole protections, as being just an American citizen. Now we have to bring in the second side, our back side, as being a Roman citizen to protect our back.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I think that's all I can digest for tonight.
Okay.
So thank you.
I think the call that you're interested in is probably around July 31st. I found that out by looking in the current file and seeing when we put together the examples for the foreign grantor trust and estate EIN right after Patrick's example for the private individual banker.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, and the calls prior to that helped a lot, and they go over everything. Because
Right.
Pat went over every box in his
Yeah,
prior calls.
Issues you're talking about being explained, what's the checking account and savings account. Patrick has mentioned that almost every month, and it's on most of his documents. So that means you really have to catch up on the calls and look at the documents.
Okay.
Right, the checking account was the certificate of live birth, and the savings account was the Social Security.
Oh, okay.
In the public
The
system.
certificate of live birth is like a coupon. It's like a check. You have to listen to the calls to get it, otherwise you're not going to learn it.
And that's my thing right there. Because the bills that we receive in the mail are checks, why are we getting them to discharge them when we should be getting paid, like right off the bat? We don't have. Why are we going to the Vicar General when the IRS tells us straight up in Publication 1212 that they are supposed to reimburse us for those coupons? That's my gripe right there.
But they're not sending us checks.
You got, wait. Okay? You got a service, okay?
They use your assets. They're giving you a bill, okay? Now, you have to give that back to them, endorse it back to them, do a 1099-A. You borrow debt from them. You give it back to them. You release the credits that they're holding so that they don't have to pay it back to the Treasury. Okay? Everybody is happy. You got the service. You were paid the service. Stop trying
But
to
if it doesn't, and I'm not double dipping. They're double dipping. When I'm sending them a coupon, hold on, Patrick. When I send them a coupon and I send them a payment with that coupon, I just paid them twice. That's double dipping.
Yes.
So I'm not double dipping when they're using my credit. Hold on. They're using my credit. Hold on, Patrick. I'm gonna let you talk. I've been listening for like an hour and a half. Hold on. I let them.
You've got to go to the Secretary of the Treasury and then pull the credits that have supposedly been deposited because of that second payment you made and get reimbursed with the receipt because you didn't do it right the first time. You're only going to get paid once, okay? But you've got to go the right place to get the compensation in the process.
I got muted. All I'm trying to do is get the. No, don't mute me. No, hold on. I won't talk over him. I'm a gentleman. I know how to have a civil conversation. I've sat here and listened since 5 o'clock. I'm a very civilized person. I know how to listen. All I wanted to do was get the point out so that Patrick could correctly answer me. That's all I'm saying. I just want Patrick. All I want you to do is hear me out. Let me say something, and then that way you can give me a good response. Because we keep talking, you keep saying you want people to ask questions, you want feedback, but when I go to talking, you start talking over me. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, like I was saying, they're double dipping because when I give them that coupon and I give them some Federal Reserve notes, I'm paying them twice. However, the constitutional law says, as you were saying, yeah, you can endorse it and give it to them, but they're not the only ones who are withholding agents, correct? I'm talking about the company, like an electric company. They're not the only withholding agents, right?
They have utilized their company. They've utilized your letter of credit, your signature, okay?
My social,
letter of
right.
credit. Okay? Now, they are sending you a bill because they've been using, and that is rent that is being paid to you, but it is to be compensated by the service that you've been given by the electricity or the water. You have to turn around, give them a 1099-A. You borrowed the debt from them. You're going to then endorse the back of that coupon or that bill and give it back to them. You don't put any Federal Reserve dollars with it. Okay? You release the 1099-A is positive because it's debt. The endorsement on the back of the bill is negative because you're releasing credits to them.
Right.
They're holding your credits.
Patrick, I get all of that. Patrick, I get all of that. No, hold on. I'm just trying because when you have conversations like that, if it was just me and Patrick on the phone, man to man, and nobody else was around, we'd be able to have this conversation without somebody else just jumping in. Patrick, I totally get that. I've studied a lot of material that you put up there. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But in that case, it would be preaching to the choir because I just want to move to the next step. I totally get that. But what I'm saying is when you send that 1099-A, who has to process that 1099-A? The IRS, right? Why is the IRS telling me to send them the coupon? And then they can then do an electronic funds transfer to me. That's what I'm reading publication 1212. I'm reading their instructions.
Hold it. Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Go ahead.
There. Okay.
Okay.
You send the 1099-A into the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
That is informing the IRS that this utility company does not have to make a payment of credits back to them. to the Treasury.
Hold on. You talking about the 1099A?
That's right there.
You talking about the 1099A, right? Let me go beyond the 1099. Let me go beyond the 1099A. I'm gonna switch
Why
over
do you need to go beyond?
Because there's so many different ways of obtaining money out of this system. You don't have to just use the 1099A. There are people who have successfully used the OID process when they've done it correctly. I know people went to jail because.
Ended up back in jail.
And you know why they went to
3 years
jail?
Later.
No, let me tell you why they went to jail. They went to jail because they did not file it correctly. You can go to jail for filing a 1099A incorrectly. If you send a 1099A without the 1096, you're doing it incorrectly. You're supposed to file the 1099 OID with the 8281, and that's where people were going to jail. They were not announcing who was the filer. That's why people were going to jail. They weren't reading Publication 1212. When you read their instructions, they will tell you what to do. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to come up in here as a know-it-all, or else I wouldn't even be in the group. I'm trying to add to the group. There are some things that I have done. I showed a lady in Florida how to buy 2 cars last week. I'm trying to build on to the group. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay,
But
how did you buy the 2 cars last week?
she used a negotiable instrument. She credited it to her account in Puerto Rico, and she used the 1099A.
The 1099A, right.
But all that did was report to the IRS that this transaction was happening. That's it. But that's not what allowed them to give her the car. She got the car.
Yes, it did.
No, let me tell you
Yes,
why. Let me tell you what they told her. They told her she got the vehicle because of the negotiable instrument, the letter of credit, and the UCC-1 that she filed. That's what they told her.
But they
This
told her
isn't
wrong.
me.
Okay.
All I'm saying is if this is coming out of their mouth, why should we go against the reason why they gave her 2 vehicles that was paid off in full? I'm not making this up. I'm just being straight up.
Did she get the MSOs? Did she get the MSOs?
She got the title. We talking about
the
an MSO?
MSOs?
No, let me tell you what she did. She did an injunction against the state. See, the MSO never mattered. She can get a regular plate. She did an injunction against the state, and they can't even pull her over because she let them know that she's under the Bill of Rights, the state's constitution. You know what I'm saying? That was the estoppel that I was talking about. I filed that 6 months ago. I've already put myself on that list. That's what I'm saying. I'm already, like you said, you want people to be like there with you so that you can move on. Well, I'm here. I'm just trying to get away from the madness. And I want to see, like the lady she was talking about, she looking for success. She want to see some success so she can know that she ain't got to go to jail. Ain't nobody got to go to jail for this stuff. If this is if this is our rightful inheritance, what we going to jail for?
Yeah, but one thing, okay? Why would you ever want to give jurisdiction to a vehicle, to private property, over to the state?
They don't have jurisdiction. Let me tell you why they don't have.
Does she have the title, or do they have the title?
She has the title. Let me give you an example. It's just like the title, your birth certificate. That's the title, correct?
If she's got the MSO, okay, not the certificate of title to the vehicle, but she's got the MSO, okay, to where it was never registered with the state. Okay, she's got to have the MSO. Okay, then that is private property. If otherwise, if it's a certificate of title that the state has issued to her, then basically she is under the control of the state, no matter what.
I'm going to have to beg to disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. For example, I have another client who has filed the estoppel, right? She got pulled over by 2 cops, and they told her that her vehicle's tags were out, and that they were going to have to give her they were going to give her a $700 ticket. So they went back to the car after she gave her the information. They came back and told her to go about her way. They didn't give her a ticket at all. So she went down to get those stickers. And what happened was they told her she was going to have to get an emissions test, and they wouldn't be able to give her any stickers. So she gave the lady at the counter her information. She went over to the emissions guy. He said that they stayed over there for a little amount of time. Came back and asked her how many years she wanted. She didn't have to give up any money. Why? Because she did the correct estoppel. That's what I'm saying, Patrick. I'm with you. We have the success. I'm just trying to get on board with you. When I brought up the Treasury of Puerto Rico about a month ago, you said, fuck no. I'm just being straight up, man to man. I'm trying to move on to the next level. But you said fuck no to me. But now you talking about the Treasury in Puerto Rico.
That's because I didn't know that America was
Yes,
conquered by the Roman Empire. Okay.
Right, but I knew that. You know what I'm saying? I know what time it is. I mean, I may be, you know, a little younger than everybody, and I respect my elders, but I know a little bit about what's going on. I think we can get further if we really let people come into the situation and bring some laws behind what they saying, because I really know what's going on.
Yeah,
I want to see some success myself.
Yeah, you can make this a lot simpler, okay? That's the thing. This can be made a hell of a lot simpler now that we understand what we need to go there. And the 1099-A is just a means to basically draw the debt from the coffin out into one side. Then we do the endorsement by the 1090 by the receipts that we give back to them, or we do the receipts that we send back to the utility company. Okay, you can take all your receipts. Like I bought this car. Okay, now I've got a receipt from the debit card that I had that bought the car. I can take that receipt and go down and put that into Puerto Rico and get the $25,000 back from my dead man's account.
That's right. You're supposed to get the car and the money.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm getting the car back because, I'm getting the money because the Ford Motor Company had to borrow to make the car to begin with.
Right.
So instead of doing the invoice and endorsing it back to them, and I tried that before, it's best to go the one way, pay it, get the MSO title, never sign it over to the state. Then when you go to another state and see if she has a state's title, when she goes into another state, she may run into problems over there in that other state. But if you've got the MSO, okay, and you go into another state, they can't do anything because the state has never had control of that car. They do not have a claim on it.
What we've done to go around that, just giving you my experience, because I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done to go around that is we have filed the estoppel with the Attorney General, the Governor, and the Sheriff, right, of the county in which we're in the nearest county. And that has stopped them from pulling people over and
but
even giving them tickets, right?
That's only in that area.
No, I got you with that. I totally agree with you. And on the estoppel, we did put the 50 states, but of course, if you're not putting these other states on notice, it's not going to work, right? So I've done it at a state level, and I've also done it at the federal level as well, right? So that's why I say it's a work in progress, but we are seeing success. That's why I'm trying to build with you, because I already know that you know what you're doing. I'm just trying to say, hey, we've had some success in this area, so let me talk to you because I know that your knowledge is already there. So maybe you can add on to where I'm already at and make this process even more smoother. You see what I'm saying?
That's where I've got to looking at, and basically the cars, the vehicles, and everything that had that little fish on the back of the cars and a cross, and that you state that you are an ambassador in Christ or an ambassador of Rome. Basically, they have no jurisdiction over you just by that fact alone. And then if you have the MSO, you do not need a UCC, okay?
Right.
You don't need any of these other documents. You still have your main apostille or affidavit and estoppel by deed over your certificate of live birth and your baptismal record and your military if you have that. Basically, that has stopped everything right there because that is mainly where all sources come from.
Right.
So, like in the movie Matrix, you put an estoppel out there, you're like Neo, and you have stopped Mr. Smith dead in his tracks.
Right. And I'm telling you, I'm with you. I watch your paperwork. I'm like, he knows what he's talking about. And that's not the case. All I'm saying is I want to bring a success story to you and build with you from there. But if I come with information and I'm being like pushed back on it, then it's only natural that I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't even want to deal with that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all, but if I'm coming with some success, you know.
I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to you there when you told me that
sir.
before.
All I wanted was to win.
Yeah, it took me a while for it to sink in. And that's like even the other day I was talking about the DD-214, and it just didn't click until basically I cut down. I had 3 trees, and basically I cut down one of them, and 2 of them are still standing there, and I was sitting there smoking a cigarette, looking at that, and I said, 2. Basically, I got 2. I got my baptismal record that's a 214 form, and then I got my DD2. Hell, we're in the Roman Empire.
Right.
We
and
basically were
I went and got
conquered.
copies of that. I followed you. I went and got copies of that.
Yeah, we were conquered by the Roman Empire because we became a debtor nation. So they conquered us that way. Okay? Not coming in and marching across us, but basically they did in a way. They sent all their bishops and priests and everything over here. And but that's been in play for several hundred years, because the Jesuits have been out here all the way out to California way before half the damn states in this country ever got on the map.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. People don't know that they're conquered. That's why, people going around here, raising their voices at these cops, and they getting their butts kicked because they don't realize they are conquered people. But there is a way around these people. I've dealt with state troopers who have not done anything to me when I spoke up for myself. They've actually came to my aid when they tried to repo my car. They came and told them they had to leave. Why? Because there was paperwork in place, and I was confident in what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And like those type of experiences, the lady who was speaking just right before me, that gives her confidence in what we doing. I feel where she coming from, because you come into a process and you ain't seeing success. You like, I'm not trying to go to jail. All of us ain't built for that. I want to see, like, hey, has anybody been successful in what we doing? And so I've had some people in front of me that were successful, so that gave me more confidence. But at the same time, I don't want to depend on them. I want to be my own man, but I do want to work with other people. And I see you got the knowledge. Look, the letter of credit that I'm using, it was based on the letter of credit that you created. I just changed a couple things around, and it worked.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing. And we could all be doing the same thing. I don't want nobody thinking I'm a know-it-all, but, I mean, I do know something.
Yeah, you just got to put it in your own words so that you can defend it. And that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. You've got to put it, you can take my documents, but you've got to make them put it into your wording so that you can defend what you're going after. And then basically you're there.
Yes, indeed.
We've got them. And see, basically why for over 2 years, okay, I had traffic tickets on the books, okay?
Right.
I'm sitting right here about 3 miles outside of town. They haven't come after me for those tickets or anything like that. I've done numerous things trying to set them off and everything.
Right.
But they never came after me. Well, because in a lot of cases, I have filed stuff into the diocese with the vicar general in the process, and basically they know that I'm sitting here with a lot of key information, and they've been told to back off of me.
Right. And as they supposed to. As they supposed to. They not supposed, all of these laws that's going on out here are unconstitutional. And we're letting them know that they're unconstitutional. And, as you would very well know, they don't want to do that stuff in the public, but in a private way, they will back up off you. And we've seen this with success. That's why I'm with you. You are in the right direction. You right there. I'm just trying to build with you. You gave me something about the Treasury of Puerto Rico. Even after that situation, when you put up that document, that made it easier for me, so I didn't have to call up there and looking for an extension. It was on the document you put up. So you see how that worked for me? But I already knew about the Treasury of Puerto Rico, so it worked well.
that was Verdell. Basically gave me that information, and she went down there and basically processed one of the instruments to get a car, but the only problem she had was the insurance, and that's why I put that other document up there about that we can do our own insurance as a letter of credit and place that on deposit. Okay?
Right.
And,
I was asking you about that too. Heck yeah.
And
I'm
then
trying
that
to do
stops them. They can't force us, and the problem is they cannot force us into the Jezebel system. They do that, and they are in total violation of the laws of Rome, of Christ, okay? The laws that are cast in iron.
Right on. Now, I'm with you 100%, you know, because the lady, she did do the regular insurance, and I know that, you know, you want to get around everything. I'm just saying we found a way around that, but, you know, she got the regular insurance, and she got 2 brand new cars. She signed the paperwork, nothing old. It's been 3 weeks. There's nothing coming back. It's good to go.
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking credit card bills being paid off, tickets going away, court cases. This stuff is working, and I'm giving you credit that some of it's coming from your work.
Let me turn you over to the group. You guys go ahead and continue talking, and I got to go put my mom to bed, so I'll be back on in a little bit.
What's your information, young brother? Do you have any direct information?
What is your name? Can we get your contact information?
Oh, yeah, so I am Malik from Washington. I've been on the calls a few times. You know, I lay low, though.
Washington State?
Yes, I'm in Washington State.
Okay.
You know, I lay low. I don't be trying to get too much attention, you know, because this is private information. So, you know, you don't want to put your stuff out there, you know. But,
do you have a Skype name?
I'm sorry?
Can I get a hold of you on Skype?
Yes, on Skype, I am T-O.
T-O?
Identity. It's all one word. T-O identity. So it's 2 identity.
Okay. I will find you.
The Skype group so we can talk to you.
INDENITY.
T-I-T-Y.
Identity. Oh, D-I-T-Y. Oh, there's 2 D's in there.
No, because you gave some very good information that really resonated, and I'd like to talk to you.
Yes, because it works. It works, and it's not going to work any different for anyone else. Like, you know, when you're doing it the right way, they can't turn you away. You're doing everything the proper way. It's not like A for V, where people say, you know, oh, it may work and it may not work. No, it's going to work or we going to court. It's as simple as that.
Wow.
Do you know Corey?
I'm sorry?
Do you know Corey?
No, I don't
Corey?
know Corey.
Oh, he's pretty sharp. He's kind of like you. He's on the Skype group. He's got his name there.
Yes, indeed.
Orea or something.
When I type in that Skype name, something called Luca comes up. Is that correct?
No, it's TOIDENTITY. I think that's how I spell. You put it that way? Okay. Take away that first. All right. So try this one. TOIDENITY. Try that one.
How did you spell that again?
So that'll be TOIDENITY. Try that. ITY. Yes, ITY. 2 identity. I think I spelled it wrong when I first did it.
Okay.
You have an email, bro.
Could you join the Skype group?
Oh,
Skype group so we could talk with you.
Is
yes,
after
indeed.
T an IE or an ID?
So I'll do it one more time. So it'll be TOIDENITY.
Okay.
Identity without a T?
Yeah, without a T. Without the other T.
Yeah.
I fixed it eventually.
Would you join the Skype group so we can talk with you?
Yes, indeed. I will do that. I'm on my way home right now. I was actually driving, but I'm on my way home now. I'll jump on.
The way you do
so
that.
I'm sending you a Skype contact request right now, and I'm referencing Patrick's call, so that's how you'll know who's contacting you.
Yeah, because I don't put myself out there like that, because like I said, it's private, and you know, I don't want, you know, anybody coming down on me, because you know how it is when you get some real information, they don't want that stuff shared. So I try to keep a low profile.
I'm not trying to give out your information.
No, we're a small group, man. It's not that, we're not like that.
To join our, please, to join our Skype group, you need to send me a Skype contact. That's TWIDLAR.
Oh yeah, I've seen that name before. I got you. I'm gonna add you as soon as I get home.
Send me the contact request, and I will put you in the.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know it's some good information out here. It's amazing. Like right now, these banks they're not saying anything I'm doing is fraud. It's not illegal. It's just they trying to play a game of whether they're going to accept it or not. And I'm studying their rules, their little banker secrets, and I'm up on them. And they can't run.
Okay, thank you, Malik. I appreciate it.
That's proof. And a lot of people are saying a lot of things, but you're talking about proof right there. That's
when you got these, listen, I know we running away from, you know, their codes and everything, but there's this thing called conflict of law. If you gonna play in their game, and you got to know their rules. So what you do is you bring their rules to their face, and you say, well, this is what your code says you have to do.
Yep.
And that's what I've been doing to them successfully.
Nice.
Okay, so can you walk us through slowly without any woman did to get that car or those cars?
Yeah, I'm in the car right now, so I don't want to really say too much on the phone right now, but I will get inside of that Skype group, and I'll discuss as much as I can. But I will say, because, I mean, I know Patrick has his process, but my process started with the authentication of my birth certificate, because I followed Minnesota Rule 220. And under the full faith and credit, yes, because come on, under the full faith and credit clause of that Constitution, if you get a certified copy of a law, it stands as law anywhere you go to put it on record. You could put that on record anywhere you go. So you should follow what Minnesota Rule 220 is telling you to do. Patrick brought up Jupiter Ascending. Jupiter Ascending is showing you Minnesota Rule 220.
So how did you go about the authentication?
So you get your regular birth certificate, and you send that to the state where you were born, to the Secretary of State's office, where they do authentications and apostilles.
Mm-hmm.
So you fill out a form where you do a cover letter, whatever they want you to do, just read the directions. And the key to getting an authentication, which is not an apostille, because an apostille is the corporation. You don't want an apostille. You want an authentication. The key to getting that is using a country that is not in The Hague. It's just that simple. Look it up. Find a country that did not sign The Hague.
Right.
And every time I'm sorry?
What country did you use?
I used Taiwan, but you could use Morocco. You could use any country, because for me with Taiwan, you know, I'm trying to do some business with Taiwan, so you know I need to get my document authenticated for Taiwan.
Okay. So you went to the Secretary of State and you got the authentication of your birth certificate through the state where you were born. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then me is in Pennsylvania, so I sent it to Pennsylvania.
Okay. And then the next thing you did?
Right back to you with the cover sheet telling you that it's authenticated.
Okay.
Once you're done that, then you send it to, you've gotten it back, then you send it to the Secretary of State's office in D.C.
John Kerry.
John Kerry. And he'll authenticate it as well. You'll get his wet blue signature, and you'll see it says that this document is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States.
Okay.
Then it's game on.
It's game, yes. And the next step, if you follow Minnesota Rule 220, it tells you that you have to attach an affidavit saying that you are one of the owners of said certificate of title, which is your birth certificate. And I have those documents in place. When I did this stuff, I didn't just think about myself. I thought about everyone else that was going to come behind me. So I set everything up in template form so I can look out for people in that way.
So you filed that affidavit at the county level where you live?
No, you don't even have to file. You attach it to your birth certificate.
Oh, to John Kerry?
No. John Kerry doesn't
Once you
need
get it back.
Once you get it back, then you attach the affidavit.
And we respond to that?
Right. So let me tell you why
you send that to John Kerry, he will send it back as fraudulent.
Exactly, because they don't want any parts of that. And rightfully so. Let me tell you why. Because that affidavit that you're attaching to it is called a counter deed. A counter is a secret writing that destroys the public one. So because they have an interest in the public on your birth certificate, it's destroyed once you attach your affidavit. And that's not me saying it. That's them.
Okay, can you just do a rewind on that? When
Okay.
John Kerry
Sends it back.
responds, he says it's fraudulent.
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time?
If you
What
have
does
the
John Kerry
affidavit
say?
attached.
He says it's fraudulent.
No, if you were to send, say if you had the birth certificate and you attached the affidavit before you sent it to John Kerry, they would send it back because the affidavit has nothing to do with their process. Per their own instructions. All they want you to do is to get it authenticated at the state level first. That's per their direction. They didn't tell you to attach an affidavit to it. You just do the first part correctly. They're gonna send it back to you. Then you send it to John Kerry, and then they'll do what they're supposed to do, which is attach their little cover letter to it, send it back to you, and then you attach your affidavit. Let's make that very clear.
Okay. And so once we attach it, then what does that mean?
Then that means that you now are a holder in due course of that certificate of title. It says on that cover letter that comes back from John Kerry, there are some laws in the bottom left section. One of those laws is the holder in due course law.
Okay.
So
So
we
what
just keep
kind
that?
of an affidavit are we supposed to attach to it then?
It's an affidavit of ownership.
And what would it say in there then?
It will say that that you are the said owner of that birth certificate. I have a template. I don't mind. Yeah. If you read Minnesota Rule 220, it actually tells you what to put on the affidavit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've read it like 40 times, and I'm getting closer. Thanks to you. Thank you.
Yes, and no problem. We supposed to be doing this. You know, I just don't want to step on nobody's toes. I don't want anybody thinking I'm stepping on their toes. I'm just trying to get to the finish line.
Exactly.
Okay, so when we do this process, is that we have to go through that whole process to actually have ownership of the birth certificate? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Hey, wait. Do we endorse when we send it to John Kerry? Don't we endorse the back of the certificate?
No, you don't endorse it.
Okay.
The endorsements were like Baker's acceptances. At this point, you just got a certificate of title. You're just trying to process.
Yeah, I already got it authenticated. I've just been holding on to it for a month, not sure which one to send it to. So now, because I didn't know if I had to get it apostilled or not. So I just got it authenticated.
Yeah, you want to get it authenticated. Just use a country that did not sign the Hague.
See, they only asked for a country if it was going to be apostilled.
Right. But you put in a country if you put in a country that did not sign the Hague.
No, I didn't put in a country. I just got it authenticated. They didn't ask. They asked me for a country. I said, I didn't say one. They only wanted a country if it was going to be apostilled.
So you got your birth certificate authenticated at your state, right? At your state level, and you just sent it in. You they didn't did they tell you to do a cover letter, or did they have a form themselves?
They had formed themselves, and then they gave me the seal, the state seal.
They gave you the state seal, and they authenticated it.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, good stuff. If they doing it like that, where you don't have to put in a country, that's cool. Because that says something. Because, I mean, I haven't had the experience where I've tried to do it without putting in a country at all.
In California.
I mean, but you know what? Something like that speaks for itself. Because if you don't put in a country and they just do it, I mean, I don't know if that was an error. I don't think it was.
I don't think so either. Because
they don't make errors.
Yeah, they first asked me a country because they thought I wanted to apostille, and I said I'm not leaving any country because they thought I was going to go to another country.
Right.
And I said no, and then they said okay, and it was $25, and it took me about a half hour, and I was out the door.
Right on. Hey man, that experience right there, it says something to me. We want to get down to the nitty gritty of it, but if you don't put in a country, and if they're going to make an assumption, then that means that they have to be operating on a de jure side for them to just do something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I went to the state. That's the de jure side.
See, there we go. Speaks for itself. I just used Taiwan because that was just my way of going it. But if you don't have to put anything, that's even better.
Yeah.
You said the state. How do you ask for the de jure side?
I think the state attorney general, that is, he's dual. He's constitutional and DC, so he's both.
The Secretary of State, right?
Yeah,
the Secretary of State's office, right?
Yeah.
So, and it makes perfect sense because they already made their own assumption just by you not putting anything there, because they know where that birth certificate sits at.
Did you have to show any ID or anything, or just?
Yeah,
I can understand
ID.
Walking it in is really better, and then you don't lose it.
Yeah, just my ID, and that was good. And the $25.
Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania, so I had to mail it in, but everything worked fine. Everything worked fine for me.
Everything worked fine for me, and I'm from Virginia.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, Malik, I have a comment to make. When Patrick was saying that our nation's been conquered by the Roman Empire, or the Roman, and Eric John Phelps is like the only guy that wrote Vatican Assassins and all the dirty deeds the Jesuits have been doing and all that. I mean, there's no lack of evidence. That book that he wrote was like 750 pages, and I think he wrote a second one. I'm not sure, but by taking over a country because of a bankruptcy, how can our nation be bankrupt when there's all the resources and everything here? It just doesn't make sense that, all the people...
Our nation isn't bankrupt. Our nation isn't what's bankrupt. The corporation is bankrupt. So when you start dealing with your artificial person, which is the first name, middle name, last name, the Enslegis, that's the correct name for it. Everybody's using straw man and all of that. And the third, Enslegis is the correct name. Enslegis. Enslegis. And that, once you're using that name, now you're in the bankrupt corporation. But you, the natural person, you have nothing to do with that. You got funds sitting at the county. Patrick talks about that all the time.
Right. They have the substance and we have the title. We just have to merge them.
Right. And and that's the part where we're working on right now, where we're working on coming in, with the bill in equity so that we can try to claim these assets. But there is a process before you can even do that stuff. That's why Jupiter Ascending put it out there on Front Street of telling us what we needed to do. When he came in with her, he said we have the authentic holder of the title. And he told her that she was going to need her tax ID in order to get the title. That tax ID is the social.
No, it isn't. No.
I'm gonna just tell you why I said the social.
It's the individual banker's EIN.
I'm gonna just tell you why I said that.
Social is a dead man's account.
Right, it is.
Yes.
It is. And so is the certificate of title. The title is the title to that dead man's account. It's all connected. You don't get the social without having that birth certificate, right?
No, you can just apply for it. You never have to show it.
You got.
I'm listening. No, I'm here. I'm listening.
You got the birth certificate before you got the Social Security number, okay?
Right.
Okay, so the Social Security number came later, and that's when they had to have a means to deposit the rent that were due to you because your guardians allowed them to have access to your assets, okay? So they signed as a letter of credit in the process for 21 years, okay?
Right.
With the certificate of live birth. Now, you come in with your Social Security card, and see, that did not go into effect until you turned 18. And that was supposed to be when you started working. And it was primarily set up, the Social Security was, to allow the corporations to go and use your assets as when you started working for them, so that they could have a means to pay you, because they had no money, so they had to borrow the money. So they were really using your signature when you hired on as a letter of credit, and then turning around and paying you for the usage of that back. You just didn't know that you had to take that receipt and turn around and get the payment back from the or from the Puerto Rico using the 1099-A.
No, I'm here with you. I'm listening. I try to do more listening than I do talking. I promise you.
And
the 1099-A
that's what
is the rent.
The 1099-A is the big kicker, okay?
Yes, indeed.
In the process. We don't need the 1099-B. They have to fill out the 1099-B if we put a 1099-A in to set off like a mortgage or something like that. They have to go back in and adjust the books. They have all the accounts in the process. We don't know what all the fees are and everything else that are associated with that. And then they'd be the ones that also have to do the 1099-Cs. So the only document we are really primarily concerned with is doing the 1099-A properly, either to set off the bill initially by giving the endorsement on the back of the bill, or if we pay for it out of our back pocket, we take the receipt, and we have to surrender the receipt, okay, so that we're not taking the receipt or sending it down to Puerto Rico, getting paid from them, and then taking the receipt and going back and getting the money back from the company at the same time. Okay? So we have to surrender the receipt down to Puerto Rico when we do the 1099-A, along with the invoice to them.
Do we endorse the back of the receipt?
Yeah, you would endorse the receipt so that basically it can't be used by anybody else either. Okay.
Right.
Okay, and then basically you get the funds, the credits that were utilized in the process by Ford Motor Company or whoever made the car. Okay, because they had to borrow. And see, the bankers have no money. We're the only ones that have any real substance.
So true.
Hey, do you think that the 1099, if we're not caught up on our taxes, well, that won't work, right? And
yeah, you take that tax bill, okay? If they say you owe some taxes, do a 1099-A, okay, to them, okay? You're a person, and basically you're borrowing the debt, okay? You borrowed the debt either as your Social Security person or whatever, and then you endorse the back of that bill that they send you and send it back to them. But the 1099-A is positive, but on the back of the bill, you endorse it as a negative. You're releasing the credits to them, and that's what you say. I am releasing the credits. Negative credits.
That's so true, because that's what we're doing. We're actually, we're not, in that case, like you're saying, you're endorsing the bill, right? So the bill is the equivalent of, like, if I was using a negotiable instrument to try to, like, make a purchase, right? And I use the 1099-A as well. The negotiable instrument is a negative, but the 1099-A is the positive. Same case when you're handling these bills. Right on.
Right.
Does it need to be signed in red ink? Is that true?
Well, you can write the reason why you use red ink, because in some cases there's a lot of black there, so you do red and then you sign it in blue.
Yeah, never sign in black.
Yeah. Sign in blue and date it blue. Date and signature in blue, but you write the payment and everything, the endorsement, pretty much and basically I put endorsements up there on the site for the bill set off. You write that in red and then at a diagonal so that it doesn't merge in into the thing, and then you sign it in blue. And you sign it, and basically it's best if you have your banker's EIN.
Yeah.
And then your chief financial officer is the one that is basically doing the set off.
Okay.
And I use that banker's EIN. I use that in my process where I actually put on my negotiable instrument, my name and private bank, estate, and trust. We've done that, and it worked.
Yeah. And then you've got your EIN there, and basically he is the fiduciary over the estate or over the foreign grantor trust.
Yeah, I got my estate EIN and my private banker, individual banker, but not the grantor trust. I'm a little confused. I don't have a foreign address, and I heard that you got yours without using a foreign address.
Right. When I got mine way back, I turned around and I did the 3520 and the 3520A form. What most people never read, the Schedule A for the 1040. And it was right there that basically told you need to have a foreign grantor trust.
So, do those forms and not for the grantor trust, do the 30, what were those numbers, 32?
Yeah, and then basically the other one, the 4122 or whatever is form that one.
And not online version, right?
That goes into Detroit, and that is for a bank with the IRS. You have your bank and put your notification in there about your bank.
With those forms?
Yeah, with that 4022 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
With the private bank, right? I was just looking into it a little deeper. What I found with the foreign grantors trust is like with a trust, you want to have a declaration of trust and you want to have an indenture to go with it.
This is not a trust, okay? This is not a trust in that capacity, okay? This is a entrustment, okay? And an entrustment is not a trust, okay?
Who's the
so what I'm
beneficiary?
saying, so with the 98, so we're talking about the 98 EIN, right?
Well, basically, some people have different EINs. Some people even have 47 foreign grantor trust EIN. And see, what a foreign grantor trust, basically, that is where you have allowed you are a foreigner and you have given a letter of credit. That is your foreign grantor trust. You have given a letter of credit as a trust instrument over to this other party. So that's where, when you want to close down all of these letters of credit, that's why you need to have that foreign grantor trust so that you can pull those letters of credit back out of the system. That's why you need the foreign grantor trust number.
Right.
To remove your letters of credit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that with the way I've been looking at things, like especially with the banker, the private banker number, right? I was one of those people that got one of those discs from you, and I wish I was in front of my computer right now. But like on the disc, it talks about the articles like for that a bank has on, that a bank has like its own constitution. Do we have to have that on deck, in your opinion?
No. See, that's the key thing. A private bank is not controlled by the state. And it's basically, this private bank that we have is essentially a private estate or private enterprise. And the state has no jurisdictional control over this. That's why we went with individual banker instead of private banker, because a private banker, the state has jurisdictional control over a private banker, but not over an individual banker. And they do not have control over a private bank. Okay? So we have an individual banker in a private bank.
Right.
Okay?
So you think to write as an individual banker?
Yes, you have to write it as individual banker. You don't say private banker. You say private banker, and you now basically, unbeknownst, you're under state control.
Well, on the IRS forms, I did individual private banker, and then they sent it back as private bank, estate and trust. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have a private bank, like I have Patrick Devine Private Bank, E&T. Okay.
Yeah.
And see, my individual banker works for my private bank. Okay, he's my CFO, but he's not a private banker. He's an individual banker. Okay, see, that's the difference, and that's what I say. You need to really read the definitions in the dictionary, and you'll start seeing the difference in between some of this stuff and how basically people, by not knowing the definitions, have gotten themselves into trouble.
Oh, I never learned to read.
Yeah, the key book that we should have gotten when we went into school was a good Webster's Dictionary or Oxford Universal Dictionary.
The 500-pound version.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. See, that was the thing, Patrick. The disc that you sent me, I read the definitions, and I mean, because we should read it again probably right now. That difference between that individual banker and the private banker, because I thought I saw that the private banker was the one that wasn't incorporated with the state, but the individual banker was incorporated with the state.
No, it's the opposite. Okay, and see, I tried to highlight that in one of the Word documents that I had up there, in between the difference in between the two of them. Okay?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because that's what I thought I saw. You know, I'm just trying to make sure I'm reading it right. You know.
And that's what, some people say, I have to read that about 3 times. Then it finally sinks in. Then I see what you're saying.
I got you, because, the way to go is not being incorporated with the state. I had got a DBA, but it's not filed with the state. It's filed with the county.
Yeah.
Just to let them know that I'm doing business. But it's not filed with the state.
Yeah, my ERNs are in Alabama, but I'm in California. Do I need to do a DBA at the county here in California?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just did it on the county, just so that they could, nobody could say that they didn't know I existed with my bank. That was just another crutch that I just put out there, so they can't say anything to me.
Yeah, see, basically, you're also one of the key things. You claim that post office, okay? Your post office is basically your box number that you have, your zip code plus the 5 digits, okay?
Yeah.
See, that's also a Roman post office, and the Roman postal system is what was really set up here, and that's why a lot of this key stuff is out of Philadelphia, is because that's where the main headquarters for the real de jure government in this country is out of Philadelphia, not Washington, D.C. What they did with Washington, D.C., they separated out 10 square miles and separated it from the nation. Okay? So it is not part of the nation. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not. Okay? It's a corporation. Okay? So it is not part of the real land of the nation. The real capital of the land is Philadelphia.
Yep. Yeah. It's in their own codes, too.
And see,
I wish I was in front of the computer.
That's where the Treasury Department is located. That is where the de jure post office is located. And then also that was Philadelphia was the prime hub for all immigrants coming into this country, was Philadelphia, before Ellis Island in New York ever came on the scene. It was all, my great-great-great-grandfather, Patrick, came into Philadelphia. He didn't go into New York or Boston, okay? Boston was just very small. Most of that was fishing and other stuff up there, but immigrants, most of them all came in through Philadelphia. A few of them came in through South Carolina and a few other ports like that, but
Old Mexico.
The main hub of immigrants was really through Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I didn't find out all this information about Philly until I moved out here to Washington. Then once I got out here, it's like Philadelphia is like where a lot of the stuff is. It's crazy. It's a lot of people in Philly that don't even know where they're at right now.
Yeah. And see, then you have that, that's why you also have an archdiocese there in Philadelphia, okay, out of the Roman Empire, okay, located there in Philadelphia. And so when we get our affidavit and our estoppel by deed done, then we will turn around and put that into that archdiocese and then try and get our American Roman citizen passport and identification out of Philadelphia.
Whoa. Does anybody have that?
No. I mean, so this is some stuff that I'm just thinking about that, hey, here it is. We now know where we need to go because now we know that we're a Roman citizen and that we're in a conquered country under the Roman Empire.
Let's have a toga party tonight.
No. Could.
Yeah, I looked up that Roman citizen too. I looked that up and it was some good stuff underneath that. Just public information, just basic public information. I didn't see anything that would throw up a red flag to me. It was more, and it actually spoke up more on freedmen when you looked up a Roman citizen.
Yeah, and basically, you want to be, and see, that's what, like I said the other night, why did, in the Civil War, why were there so many ministers involved in the Underground Railroad system out there? Because in most cases, they knew that basically if they baptized a black man, okay, then he became a free man because now he became a Roman citizen. A citizen of Rome under baptism. See, that's what happened to Spartacus way back in the Roman time. He was a slave. And then when he got baptized, he became a freed man. You're not a free man, you're a freed man.
That's right.
And there's a difference between the wording. You need to have that D in there. Freed.
Hey,
Malik.
Those little things. Yes, I'm here.
Have you or any of your clients used the technology for the houses or anything like that?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. Have we used this process for housing?
Yeah.
So I'll just give you something basic. So right now, off top, I can tell you that if a home was in foreclosure and you got together with that homeowner and you got them to sign up and you got them to sign that house over to you, we all know that the court is a bank, right? So a court will handle business better than any of these regular banks would. And you gave them, and so someone successfully gave the court an instrument and a 1099-C for a $6 million home.
Nice.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to lie because I don't want anybody getting in trouble.
No, what about the tax delinquent housing list? You see all those lists of houses that are, delinquent taxes and they're going to be auctioned.
Yeah, the tax deed sale, right?
Yeah.
The tax lien sales, right? Yeah. There are people that I know that are getting those homes too. Someone went into one of those auctions and got a home for $50.
That's what I need. Yeah, $75. Okay.
I mean, at the end, the ending cost was over $700, at the end of the day, but come on.
Was that in
Yeah,
Washington?
but why not go in and help the other party that's being injured, okay, in the process?
I agree.
And
I agree
then
with
you'll
that wholeheartedly.
both be happy, okay?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Right.
Hallelujah.
Okay? Don't
I
go out
definitely
there
think
trying to make a profit on somebody else's incompetence.
Exactly.
Okay?
Right. Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I really do.
Yeah. If you want to go out and do that, go after a corporation that's totally incompetent and take them down.
Sears.
Like
because I
Washington, D.C.
Someone being they shouldn't have been in foreclosure in the first place. They already paid for the home when they signed for it.
Yeah.
They don't know that.
3 years afterwards, basically, it's fully paid for, okay? 3 years afterwards, see, there was bonds written for 3 years, okay? So full payment, full amount of credits are sitting there for you to do the set-off if you endorse it properly to have the funds pay for the house. So it's fully paid for by the credits because of the bonds that were written. Okay, now those credits don't have to go back to Puerto Rico if they even do. But see, since we never filed the receipt or the 1099-A in, Puerto Rico has never been informed that they need, and see, Puerto Rico also controls the IRS out here, the Roman IRS, to go after these corporations. So if we don't put the receipts or the mortgages in down to Puerto Rico with the 1099-A, saying, hey, these credits need to be returned to the Puerto Rico Treasury, then basically we're negligent in the process. We're allowing all of these banks to, that's how they get double dipping, because we'd never turned the receipts in.
That's correct.
Is that the same amount of time with the car too, like 3 years, or is it the close of the business day when you sign?
It's 3 years because basically that is the amount of time that basically the comptroller of the currency, the bonds, they can only keep those bonds out there for 3 years. But see, what the bankers do is they turn around at the end of that 3 years and turn around and sell it to another bank.
Yeah.
And then that bank turns around and tries to run it for 3 years or whatever.
That goes with cars too. That goes with everything pretty much.
Oh, yes. But see, in a lot of cases, the cars and stuff like that are run through the state insurance department. And see, that is not controlled by the comptroller of the currency of the nation. The comptroller of the currency of the nation is the one that's responsible for the national banks using the bonds, okay, using the Bureau of Public Debt bond system, okay. But the state insurance departments, they may run it for 7 years, 10 years, whatever, like on a vehicle. And see, like on the vehicle, the bonds that are written are the full value of that vehicle that's listed on that certificate of title. So if you never give them the title, they cannot write any bonds. They have no claim over that car. You keep the MSO, you basically are the sole owner of that car. It's like the pink slip back in the 50s in the movies that basically people were racing for pink slips. Of course, cars were a lot cheaper then, too. Some of the cars they were driving were only worth about $500.
Wow.
Of course, now some of those same cars are worth $250,000.
That's the inflation.
Yeah. And see, that's what's going on right now is because these bankers have inflated the Federal Reserve dollars against a $1 silver dollar, is 17 Federal Reserve dollars now to one silver dollar. Where back in the 60s, it was one Federal Reserve dollar equaled one silver dollar. So you think you're getting, when you're working for $20 an hour, you're getting just barely $1.25 an hour in silver. Hell, I was making $2.25 when I started out working as a lineman for the phone company back in the 60s. So that would be almost $40 an hour now in Federal Reserve dollars. Is what they did. They basically inflated the Federal Reserve dollars and basically have made people slaves out here thinking that they're making big money. They ain't. They're getting gypped.
And that's why this system is so horrible, because they give a couple people a couple dollars and they feel like they're getting something, and they won't say anything against the system because they're comfortable.
Yeah. Gasoline right now is $2.29 here where I'm at in Federal Reserve dollars. Okay? How much is that? That's about the same price it was back in the 60s. About 28 cents a gallon in real money. Probably a little less than that. It's probably down close to about 18 cents. I mean, people don't realize, see, the commodities really haven't changed all that much. A car that's worth $25,000, basically you divide it by about 16 or 17, and you come up with about the same price as a brand new car back in the 60s. See, that's the problem. Most people don't understand the monetary system. They don't know about the conversion in the process, about what inflation is all about. And then they never knew where to go to. And now we know that we need to go to, since we're under Roman control, we need to go to the bishops or to the vicar generals in the diocese or the archdiocese that we're dealing in. Just like we need to go, Jesus had to go to Pilate back in his day. Because we're conquered.
Right. Yeah, I seen when he went into the temple, he turned the tables. I didn't take that as he literally went in there and flipped over the tables. No, he just turned the tables on the bankers.
Yeah, he was bringing the real law into play against them, and that was turning the table on them.
Yeah, because they got banker secrets. I ran into some of those webinars that they have out there for bankers, and they talk about keeping banker secrets that they don't want to tell the general public, and that keeps people dumbfounded because they don't know what's going on. And then when people walk into these banks and they try to talk about this information, now you know why people won't talk to you, because if they do know, they're not going to tell you because it's a secret.
Yeah, and you'll never know their codes, because they'll constantly change those codes on you. So you don't even want to play in their game. Because, I mean, how would you like to play a game of football, basically, if they're constantly changing the rules on you?
They do change the game.
You say, I ain't playing anymore. I can't handle this. I just scored a touchdown. No, you didn't score a touchdown because you violated this rule. Wait a minute. Where are you getting this? Well, we basically have that in the rule book here. See, I just added that.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
So you make your own league.
You come out and you stand by the real law, okay, out here, which cannot be changed because it's cast in iron.
That's right.
And that's what Christ is all about. It's cast in iron. Jesus stood for the real law because it was cast in iron in his time. It wasn't cast in stone. it was cast in iron because they were under the Roman Empire. And that's what Daniel was the whole thing about the statute was really about the law. Who has control of the law at that point in time? You have to interpret the dreams. And that's why basically the Bible's called the Holy Book, because it's full of holes and you have to fill in the missing information. But yeah, like if you want to buy a house, you turn around, you can get the purchase, like what you did. You can do a 1099-A, borrow from your dead man's account that's located down there in Puerto Rico, and give the invoice for that, and basically have the payment either made to you or to the third party, to the person you're buying it from, have the check or whatever sent to them, direct deposit or whatever.
So, Patrick, are you saying that we would be able to buy a house that way, or is that just for an already existing mortgage?
No, that would be able to buy a house, okay? You're going to draw the funds out of your dead man, your Moramain account down there in Puerto Rico. And you're going to put a 1099-A in there, basically the receipt 1099-A that I had up there, and you would take a copy of the bill or the invoice for that house, and basically you would do an endorsement to release the credits, so it'd be a negative value of credits to be siphoned out of the coffin or the safety deposit box that is being held down there at the Treasury in Puerto Rico under your dead man's name of last name first, then your first name, and Social Security number.
Yes,
and then you can put special instructions on there that you are to get the title outright, that this is not to be filed with the state. Okay? And basically this is going to be tax exempt, okay, in the process, because what did we do when we put that request for the EIN in for the individual banker? We made him tax exempt. He's a non-profit organization, in a sense, tax exempt. So that's why when I bought my car, I did not buy the car. My private, Patrick Devine Private Bank E&T bought the car. And my private banker, or my individual banker, was the one who was the authorizing agent in the process. I, as the living, did not appear anywhere in the process. I let my fictions do all the work for me, huh?
So it would be the same thing for the house then, if the private banker would be buying the house?
Yes.
Okay. So if there's an already existing mortgage, would the process be the same?
You can transfer it over to them, okay? And see, in a lot of cases, you should already have a homestead exemption out here, but you have to come in under a homestead exemption with a different EIN, not the Social Security person.
Because that's a 14th Amendment person, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
I guess I'm a little confused. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just because the way my mind is thinking, and not just thinking, like it. The Social Security person doesn't have the same rights that you do as the woman or the man. You don't. That person only has privileges. So the homestead exemption couldn't apply to that Social Security person.
Right. And basically, he is dead anyway. Okay, so basically, he's controlled by the state. He's under the protection of the state in a way because he's a dead man that hasn't been claimed. Okay.
Yes, and that's the part where I was talking about with the birth certificate, because in reading Minnesota Rule 220, it says that the birth certificate is outstanding, and you find that the definition of outstanding means abandoned. So you have to claim that dead person, as Patrick put it.
Yeah, and that's one of the other things. One of the girls went out there and basically found out that with the diocese, or I don't know whether it was with the church that she went to, Roman Catholic Church, but or whether she went to the diocese, but they also have notary, and they have notary authority, processing authority in at the diocese level or at the church level. And so basically at the diocese level, they have a little more authority out there, just like the Secretary of State does. So you'd want to go to them, okay, because since we're a conquered country, that Vicar General and that bishop have more authority than that Secretary of State does. Even in a court case, basically, I want a minister there, basically, if they're going to try and drag me into one of their commercial courts. But they ain't going to be able to drag me into anymore, because basically now I've got the affidavit and the estoppel by deed, and basically they can't take me in there because now I'm an ambassador of the Roman Empire. And basically, as an ambassador, I have to go to an Article 3 court, and basically that has to be operated under the real laws, and there has to be an injured party. And basically, a corporation is not an injured party. They can't bring attorneys into an Article 3 court. You can't either. You cannot have a paid agent in that court.
And I think that's where, like, people who are new to a lot of the judicial process, as you go through and you learn this stuff, you begin to learn the different jurisdictions, Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, and, that if someone brings you into an Article 1 court, you need to do a notice of removal to Article 3, because that's where your power is. So, that's something that I had to learn, because I was new at this too. And I had to learn.
Yeah, confession and avoidance, okay? And what do you do with the church? You go in and you give your confession to have your sins forgiven, okay? But confession and avoidance submittal into a court means that now the other party has to prove that they had clean hands in the process and that they were not negligent in any of the process that they're trying to claim restitution from. And basically, all of these credit card companies, all these mortgage companies and everything else, they do not have clean hands, and they were negligent in the process of telling you how to settle the bill. So basically, under that, when you read that definition, that is very powerful. That's what most people should have been understanding, confession and avoidance.
So what kind of letter would we send to a credit card company to clear up that debt?
You do a 1099-A.
Okay.
And you endorse the bill.
Okay. Now, I've got a situation where I don't receive paper statements.
Call them up and get the bills. Have them send you a bill.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to start acting like a creditor, right? Creditors,
and do not deal with any third-party debt collector. You do not have a contract with them.
No, you don't.
You deal with the first person only.
Okay.
You settle the bill. Even if they've turned it over to a third party, you go back to the first party. Because you don't have a contract with that third party.
What if the first party won't talk to you?
You know what the bill is. You turn around and somebody's sending you the bill. You turn around and send it back to that first party.
Okay.
What I've done with there is like there is actually a court case where a woman won. She won $81 million for a $1,500 credit card bill.
Yeah, that just happened, right?
Yeah, that just happened. So you use something like that, and that shows you that, you know what, dealing with this third party debt collector may actually be a good idea. So, you know, the way we've gone about it is we sent them paperwork telling them off the bat that, you know, we don't owe them anything. And it's an administrative process. And that's where I think people need to get in their head. Like, say you do send that 1099-A and you send the endorsed bill. In some cases, they may give you some pushback. That's when you got to learn an administrative process where you got to send it to them a couple times. That way, if you got to take this thing in front of a judge, the judge is going to rule in your favor because you put them on notice. And that's like, you know, that's that 3 times rule. You know, you click your heels 3 times. You know, third day, everything's about a 3. So you do want to learn how to do an administrative process. That's something that a lot of people weren't really stressing, because you could send it the first time it don't work, and then you lose your confidence. You got to learn how to do things the proper way in contracts. You got to put them on notice 3 times, and then you will win.
Yeah,
and
but
then
basically the thing is, you will never go into court, okay?
Right.
And that's what basically Paul said in the epistles was stay out of court. Settle with your adversaries immediately, okay?
Yes, indeed.
So you take that bill that they send you, you do a 1099-A, so basically it can be tracked because, see, they owe the taxes back to the Treasury. And you have to give them the instrument so that they don't have to pay that back if you are basically releasing the credits that they're holding and not paying out of your back pocket. You have to do one or the other, okay? You either pay out of your back pocket, then you do the 1099-A down to the Treasury down in Puerto Rico and get reimbursed. Or you do the 1099-A to the billing process, do the endorsement on the instrument, and send it back, and now you've given them the instrument that they could go to the IRS and say, hey, I don't need to pay this back because it's settled right here.
Exactly. And that's the issue right there. They have us paying when someone goes and gets a normal mortgage, those payments that you paying them, it's what Patrick just said. They making you pay the taxes. Right. Because you didn't balance the books. So in a lot of cases, some of it is our fault, but we didn't know. They didn't teach us this stuff in school, you know, but we starting to wake up now. So now's the time where we really start learning how to do this commerce the correct way.
Yeah, and see, unless you put those 1099-As in, okay, and you mark the 1099-A that you do not have to pay that debt back, okay? That you as the borrower do not have to pay the debt back. Okay? You're going to release the credits. Okay? In some cases. So it all depends. Whether you mark that box or whether you don't mark that box, you have to think about what you're doing.
Okay, now does this work in a situation where the credit card is in the name of a
Okay.
non-profit.
Stop right there. Right now, you don't have your EINs, do you?
No.
Okay. You don't go any further until you get the EINs. Then you come back and you can ask these other questions, because otherwise you're getting too damn much information and you're going to confuse yourself and you're going to be totally out of sync.
I firmly agree with that.
I just want to know if this is going to work for a nonprofit where I'm the signer.
It will work as soon as you get your EINs, okay? But you need to have those EINs in place before you even start this thing and start going the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So this will work even if it's not in my personal name.
The way I say it is a debt is a debt. If my mom had a bill, a so-called bill, I could discharge that with my credit.
In 3 days, you can have all three of those EINs. So by Wednesday night, you better have all three of your EINs on the call Wednesday night. Then we will go over the rest of the stuff with you.
Okay.
Fair enough?
That works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a process. Patrick's right. You have to put everything, you have to do the first steps in order to move on to the next one. That way you protect yourself. Because these people will come after you if you don't have those protections in place. You don't have things on the record. You got everything on record, you'll be good to go. Because then they can't say anything. And that's where your confidence will come in, because you'll have it in your hand and you'll see it for yourself.
Okay. Fabulous. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Toga party.
Where is it going to be at?
Guess not, Patrick, because I thank you.
Okay, I'm done. If anybody else wants to continue talking, they can go ahead, but I'm going to call tonight. Okay.
Yes, they're very
Patrick.
Thank you for the information.
Thank the other guy, too.
No, Patrick, you set up the forum, man. I'm just here to join in.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
I just wish that some of these other people out here, basically I was listening to some of these other people, and basically they're still going down the same damn rabbit hole.
Yes, they are.
Trying to fight the damn tax man. Well, basically, we know that this guy, and basically like I listened to Angela Starks call the other night with a guy by the name of Smith on there, and basically, we know that the damn computers and everything else that these IRS out of Atlanta, Georgia, and different places are all fraudulent because they're working for the corporation. Okay? And they're not the real IRS. And see, the real IRS that we need to get involved with is really the one that's out of Puerto Rico.
Yes, indeed.
But see, we've been misled in that regards, thinking that that was the evil one, when that is the one that we need to side with, because that's the one that's protecting our Roman treasury accounts. Because, see, our accounts ended up going offshore to protect them from the corporations that are operating onshore.
Yes, indeed.
And that's why that one judge basically told the one guy down in South Carolina, he was judged there in the Court of Claims, said, you're still out at sea. You need to bring your assets home. And the assets are offshore in an offshore account down there in Puerto Rico. We need to bring them back onshore. And get out of the Jezebel system. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Thanks,
Wednesday.
Patrick.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, what was your the Skype name again? TD
T for Thomas.
Okay.
WIDLAR.
Gotcha. So like Twidlar. Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay, I'm about to send you a request now.
Which
Okay.
Skype group?
Which
Skype group?
The Patrick Devine group.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.